Good morning and happy Tuesday. Every once in a while I come across a commenter who just understands and who gets it. And Jen here understands and Jen gets it because you are 100% right. That is literally the only thing the Democrats are going to harp about from this point until November. That and Donald Trump is a dictator. Donald Trump is evil. Donald Trump is a fascist. Donald Trump is a threat to this country. And anyone who supports Donald Trump is also all of those things. Because that's what you're going to hear from the mainstream legacy media from now until November. They just literally, this fucking corrupt judge in New York basically just said yesterday that Donald Trump couldn't even go and watch his own son graduate from high school. I mean, think about that for a second. Over a alleged hush money trial that Stormy Daniels completely signed the affidavit of. We won't even get into that. For some reason, and this is what Democrats in the legacy media have been cheering nonstop about since yesterday. Think about that for a second. Not being able to go see your own son graduate from high school. Like, what are you afraid he's going to be? A fucking flight risk? His plane literally has his name stamped on the fucking side of it. Let's just start there, okay? But if you don't understand at this point just how desperate the Democrat Party is, look no further because they're literally showing you exactly who they are right now. I still have paint in my hair from the house. Regardless, I do digress. They have nothing to run on at this point. So what they are hoping for is for women to get very emotional over their somehow lost rights. Actually, when Arizona came out with their abortion ban yesterday, Donald Trump, not yesterday, a couple days ago, Donald Trump actually came out in against this, saying that it was way too harsh. But the media is not going to show you that because it goes against the narrative of Donald Trump is taking away your rights as a woman. So what they're wanting is women to get very, very emotional and run to the polls because weak minds are very easily led. And they don't know how to go and do their own research as it is. You see, here as women in this country, abortion may be the top priority as far as the Democrats go. But let me take this once and I'll say it again. The Democrats had years to codify Roe into law, and they didn't give a shit. Why? Because they don't care. It's a typical old campaign promise, and at this point, it's their Hail Mary, if you know what I mean. That's all they got. They don't have a good economy. I mean, how many wars do we have raging right now under Joe Biden? Meanwhile, while they sat around for years telling you that if you elected Donald Trump, we were going to be into all these wars. And we are steadily marching into World War III as we see it. So all of the things that the Democrats keep pointing to Joe Biden while doing all the things that they're accusing him of as they point to Donald Trump is exactly what they have allowed underneath their administration. So the only thing that they have at this point is this Roe thing. But in the end, at the end of the day, if you really pay attention to it, Democrats had years to codify that into law, and they didn't. And the Supreme Court taking the option of abortion down to the state level for the people to vote whether they want it, they don't want it, they want amendments, or they don't, is probably the most democratic thing you can do. But that's not how they're going to sell it, and that's not how the media is going to sell it, because this is literally all they have. They have a shitty economy, gas is up, food is up, jobs, all of these things that they have done, allowing 20 million people into this country that are now committing crimes. I mean, I say these things over and over and over in every video, but you're 100% right, because that's literally all they got. Their whole objective is to try to make Donald Trump look like a bad person to America. But the sad part is America isn't buying what the media is saying. And you can see it. I mean, the man, everywhere he goes, the streets are lined, all of his rallies. And now what they're trying to do is keep him in court all day and every day so he can't campaign on the campaign trail. But the best part of all of it is every time they do this shit to Donald Trump, his support just keeps growing and growing and growing. It's actually having the opposite effect. And you would think that they'd be smart enough to see it, but they're not. We are talking about Democrats. Sorry. And you'll see them dying mindless nubs on this app all day obsessing about Donald Trump. And it's just the same old story, and it's the same old song and dance. Every time they try to hammer him with something, it's not working. Every legal scholar has looked at all of these bullshit indictments and said it's complete garbage. Alvin Bragg took this from a misdemeanor to a felony. Every other person said it wasn't even worth even going into. But this is what they're trying to do. It's hemming him up in court, trying to turn public opinion against him, but it's not working. It worked in the last election because people didn't go out and vote for Joe Biden. They voted against Donald Trump because they let the legacy media infiltrate their brains into thinking all that they were saying was the truth. But now that we have been living through a Democrat presidency, we all see how that's going, and it's not going so good. So this is literally all they have. It's like their Hail Mary, and even that's not working because Americans are struggling to survive in this economy. You know, And when they can't buy votes with, I'm going to save your student debt, which we all know he has zero authority to be doing any of that. And all he's doing is transferring that debt to people like you and me who didn't take out the loans in the first place. I mean, it's the same old talk and dance when it comes to the Democrat Party. You would think that they would figure it out. Every time they come at him with some new bogus bullshit thing, his support keeps growing and growing and growing. So you know what I think? I think that Donald Trump should go to see his son graduate. I hope they do put him in jail for that, because you know what? It'll just solidify that Donald Trump's going to be your next president. Because if they weren't going to let him go to his own mother-in-law's funeral, the fact that they wouldn't let him go to see his own son graduate, you can't, like I said, you can't call him a flight risk. His fucking name's stamped on his plane, and you guys are so fucking obsessed with him. If the man farts, you're running to your social media. So this is just more of the typical grandstanding by the Democrat Party. And you know what? I love it, because all it's doing is giving more support to Donald Trump. It's having the absolute opposite effect of what they're looking for. So what else do they have at the end of the day? We have war, endless proxy wars being funded by you and me. We've got war after conflict, but we didn't have any of that under Donald Trump. We've had 20 million people into this country that are doing crimes against Americans, and cities are going broke thanks to all of this. I mean, you see the absolute shit show that the Democrat Party has done to this country. And this is their only ace in the hole. And even that's not working at this point, because people are sick and tired of politicians. That's why people supported Donald Trump in the first place. We are tired of the corrupt establishment politicians that continue to get rich off of our backs while completely destroying this country, but pointing the finger at Donald Trump like it's his fault, even though he's been nowhere near the White House for the last 3.5 years. We are all living through a Democratic presidency. And that's why this country is in a flaming economic downward spiral. We've got war everywhere because Democrats love war. Everyone's right now having to pay their taxes. People can't afford it. They're not getting refunds. They're having to owe. They're having to file extensions because we are trying to survive in a 50-year high inflation caused by their overspending. So this is what I'm saying. This is their last ace in the hole, and even that's not working, because every time they come for him, people stand even harder for Donald Trump. I hope Donald Trump does go to his son's graduation. I hope they do try to put him in jail, because that will be the biggest, you know what will happen after that. You'll just solidify his presidency. It's a kangaroo court. It is a two-tier justice system, and it is Joe Biden trying to take out his political opponent because he is getting his ass beat so badly in the polls, and everyone knows it. Even the Democrats know it. So thank you for your comment. I hope you guys have a good day. And as always, good talk in Trump 2024.